Guys, good evening and welcome to another live at ISA. And today we are going to have Astha with us and we are going to talk about a really important point. So I hope you all have been doing well and had a very great weekend and was able to, rest and recuperate. And I'm just trying to see if she can join in. I'm trying to send her a request. And once she's able to join in, I will just add her to the call. I'm waiting for our speaker to just join. Okay, I think she's here. Just a second, Astha. I'm sending you. Okay, I received your request. Okay, great. So guys, let us know in the comments if we both are audible and clear so that we can figure out.
Hi.
What's up?
What's up with you? Kuch nahi. What's up?
All good. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So do you.
Thank you. So, I just want to know, am I completely audible and clear? Because you
Yes.
are...
Yes. You're breaking up right now, just as you asked me that question now.
Okay, is it fine? Because it's really hot here and I've put up the fan. So if you say that there is any disturbance, I'll try to reduce that.
There's no disturbance. Abhi you're coming through clear. It's fine.
Coming through clear? Okay, great. So I was really, wanting to keep another session with you because like I shared, our previous session was appreciated by all and I think it was very essential. And I think today also we have a topic which is very important. We are talking about vulnerability and pauses. So Astha, what is it that you are going to share with us today?
So this is something that I have been a concept that I've been playing with and have sat with it for a very long time now, and I a little bit about it you also know.
Yes.
And I'd like to just go back to the last one where we left off. If you remember, we talked about how kindness looks, right?
Yes.
In communication, and we talked about curiosity without labels.
Yes.
So, after that conversation, I had a couple of incidents where I was absolutely flabbergasted as to how does curiosity come without labels.
Mm-hmm. True.
When I start with just listening to what's going on inside my mind, there is so much happening, and there is so much noise, for the lack of a better word, really, because I feel there are a lot of parallel conversations happening between me and the many other me's inside, right? And at that moment, I was quite unable to break down my curiosity into label-less questions.
Okay.
And that is where I came up with the pause.
Okay.
Where going into the labels was also sometimes it's too overwhelming, where I cannot stop myself from asking certain questions because there are certain voices that are so alive and loud inside, right?
True, yeah.
So the pauses are basically when I just held on to that state of mind, and I was like, okay, let me just let me get it all out. Let me have it all out. Even if I don't understand the self-dialogue, let it happen. There has to be a part of me that's just recording most of these conversations. And once most of these noises, which are basically my children, my inner children, just yelling loudly to be seen, to be heard, once they go off to sleep, I can actually make sense of the thing that I earlier called noise.
Yeah.
In that pause, there is this moment of letting be what is, not trying to change it, not trying to go where should I go, and not trying to again, this we talked about this last time. There needs to be a shift. We need to start seeing it as not being one thing, but being in a place.
Yeah.
And that is where we allow ourselves movement. And the pause becomes when we allow ourselves to feel that this is not who I am, this is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
so you can
A little bit more.
Sorry?
Instead of being no, you had covered this a bit. We had talked about this a bit last time. Instead of being where, who we are or why am I feeling this, rather asking yourself, where am I in terms of this? So, I think you were anyway heading into that. But what I wanted to ask you is, how do pauses play into this?
Right.
Emotions.
Yeah. Yes. So in this emotion, the pauses is that now that I have identified that this is somewhere I am, I could visualize it as a room, right? Like I am in this room, and I am in this room where I'm feeling this way, and the pause is that I can see the door, okay, and I can get out, okay, but I am in this room for a reason. So the pause plays in it that I need to play out why am I in this room. I need to figure out what this room represents. What is this place like?
You got cut off for a second. Yeah, what were you saying?
Sorry. What was the last part that we?
That in this room, it was a bit. Yeah.
Right. So the thing is that the pause is to acknowledge that there is a room, that there is something that I am bound within, and there is a reason why I'm not able to step out. So the pause is that identifying where am I and how to move, and the vulnerability lies in the identification of that room, because that place that we're in, the feelings that we're in, represent a child that needs to be seen, that needs to be heard, and that is the epitome of vulnerability. To handle something that is so basic, so young, so innocent to anything, so unaware of any of the trappings of what we are taught, what we have learned. It is just aware of this one feeling that it feels, that child of ours. And the pause is to just sit there and listen to this child, to talk to oneself like a child. Just be there and say, hey, I'm here. Let's have this conversation. Say, what do you want? What do you require right now? So the pause is not about silence. The pause is not about stopping work. The pause is not about getting out of the whole thing and trying to be objective. The pause is digging in. Because it's very easy. Sorry, yes.
No, I was just thinking that I should just simplify it for everyone a little bit here, because like what you're talking about is extremely beautiful. So if anyone out here is confused, what we are talking about when she says about rooms are the different emotions that you feel, and if we could understand them as being different rooms in our minds, there's a room that is anger, there's a room that is hurt, there's a room that is pain, and asking yourself that, instead of asking yourself, what am I feeling or who am I becoming with this emotion? Instead, ask yourself, where am I? In which room am I? Okay, I'm in the anger room and I can step out of it. And acknowledging the fact that you are in this particular room, or let's say you are in this particular emotional state, and coming out of it is the whole process of being vulnerable. And I think a lot of people, when we talk about pause, even when we say the word pause, they feel कि चुप हो जा. They feel like pausing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it is not that. Pause is basically taking a break, or holding yourself, stopping and being in a reflecting. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with emotions, asking yourself, where am I? And then pausing. Okay, I just wanted to simplify that.
Perfect. Yes. And this is this is a beautiful metaphor of the rooms, because when I'm feeling something, right, when I'm angry and I say that, okay, I am angry and I'm in a
True.
room, I have kind of given it grace, I have given it identity, I have started the first process of being seen and being heard. So it's creating
True.
a safe space is important for oneself. Like you so correctly said, that who am I becoming? We get so impatient in our desire to become better people. Like in that and that is where we lose the pauses, right? That impatience that comes with the intelligence that there is something happening.
Yeah.
And immediately going to this shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying take a pause between that. Like just sit with that. This is happening. This is around. And this is. So that is where the room analogy comes. And the pause is that I want to rush out of this room. I don't want to be in this room. But the fact that I keep on wanting to get out is not going to be enough. It's just because on theory I know that this is pain. Or on theory that I know this is anger. And in theory I probably know how to manage my anger. That's not going to be enough. That opening the door and trying to get out is going to take effort. And the pause is that effort. Asking yourself, okay, what can you do now? What can you do now? What can you do now? Instead of just, like stretching it to the last, going like, this is your goal. You have to get out of this room. That just induces panic, right? Like, have you ever performed like right now, you have to just be this person right now. It doesn't really work like that, If you can't hold yourself hostage like that. That you have to get better. So there is this desire to get out of the room, and at the same time this fear to not pause in this room. So what happens is an interesting thing that is happening is that we try to then distract ourselves. We try to get into being busy, which like we said, which is the exact opposite of that pause, which is because it's not even acknowledging where we are.
Yeah.
It's just and from there I think that there becomes a very big loss of creativity, because creativity stems from vulnerability. Like, the more we process, the more we acknowledge ourselves, the more we see it for clearly what it is, and it being that room, we realize that there is a child associated with each room. And I keep coming back to the child, because there is a language to speak with that child. There is a language where we have to understand that this child is really needing to be heard right now. So instead of trying to tell that child that we are not supposed to be like that, we have to go back and try to listen to what that child is saying.
True. So, Asta, can you expand a bit more on vulnerability? Like, what is vulnerability? Because a lot of people are confused about it, and it's scary. Scary to be vulnerable and scary to let people know about our feelings or how we are or who we are. So, can you tell a bit more about what exactly it is, and how can one recognize that? Okay, I'm in a vulnerable position, so that they can make that shift, or they can take that pause.
Right. So that's an interesting concept, right? Vulnerability is something that is scary. Vulnerability is something that we don't want, and vulnerability is something that I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't know how it will be received. And my whole thing is that vulnerability is the only true state of pause. Like pausing is that state of vulnerability, when I acknowledge, for example, let's say that when I acknowledge that I am angry, okay, because somebody said something to me, I have to also make that story mine.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop there. I got angry because somebody said something to me, and that triggered an age-old insecurity of mine. That anger was connected to a trigger that was internal, not external. And when that internal trigger gets pulled, I am not sure how to handle that. I am not sure how to hold that, because in my mind I'm trapped with this, and I'm unable to see it for what it is. So because somewhere I was told that being insecure is bad. Being insecure is a weakness, and being insecure publicly, being insecure in front of somebody else who is not you,
is even more. It's even more. Is 10 times more. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And that is something that I don't want to do. I don't want to put myself out there. I want to function happily within the system that I have created of the good and the bad, of the vulnerability being a weakness. And I don't listen to this child of mine because on paper, like you said, that everybody understands vulnerability and they don't they don't want it to come out in front of people because of whatever reason.
Reason, yeah.
I am saying that in practice we have to create that empathy for ourselves first. We are afraid to put it out there because we are afraid to acknowledge its very existence within ourselves. So I am trembling when I talk about insecurity, when I talk about how anger is just the symptom of something much deeper, something which is a core belief of mine, which could unravel me. The only word I can think of is unraveling. I associate that word with opening up to people. And there are a lot of experiences that we have been told that have been ingrained in us, that weakness is preyed upon and vulnerability is weakness. So I am saying that let's pause and let's remove this attachment of vulnerability and weakness. Before we can even take it outside, I'm saying, yes, you are absolutely right. It is something so delicate, something so soft. How do I bring this out into the whole world? The real world is so scary. So can I create a safe space for myself? Can I take a pause every day and just acknowledge my vulnerabilities? That today, when I had this conversation, I felt trembly because I was feeling insecure, and there was so much in me that was pulling me down that I could not even react at that moment. I was unraveling. Take that 15 minutes in a day and just acknowledge that I unraveled. I am so scared of unraveling that even while it is happening, I'm like, no, it's not happening to me. No, I'm working, I'm awesome, I'm productive, I'm on a call. So that's distraction. That's not even being aware of that unraveling. And this is how pauses and vulnerability are connected. That in that pause, I need to give that grace and acknowledge that I unraveled. And it happened. Why? What? I shouldn't have. Blah. Okay, stop. Pause. I unraveled. So what I personally do is this: when this happens to me, I reach out to, there are 2 or 3 empathy buddies I have. You are one of them. You know this. I have come to you a lot of times, and I have come to you and I have broken down. And there is a safe space. You listen to me and you just let me speak. You ask me questions where you don't understand the story, but you let me complete my story, right? So there is that space where I am just unraveling. I am in shame, and Brené Brown talks about this, that shame melts in compassion.
True.
And before
Kindness.
I can take this shame outwards, because the shame is the first thing that vulnerability has covered itself in a blanket of. There is a blanket of shame wrapped around it, and to open that is to open up to bareness, to be raw. Before I can take it out of my own self, I have to create a safe space of pausing and just holding myself and going like, I am feeling like I'm unraveling right now. I need to hold myself.
Yeah.
I just need to take a pause and just close my eyes, close my ears, and just breathe. Like I just start just put on some series that I like. Friends is my go-to, and then take out a tub of ice cream and just. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I don't know what I'm feeling. I just keep repeating that to myself till that pause settles in, till that loop has become a white noise and there is a pause. That yes, I unraveled.
So, why I want to talk about, how these pauses sort of help us detach. So, let's say I am in the state of unraveling where someone said something. Definitely, there is a trigger in the environment. It can be a situation, it can be a comment, it can be anything, sometimes even a body language or their tone of voice. And that really shakes up, these age-old insecurities that I would say, which we have probably suppressed. We put those winter clothes, stuff करके ऐसे we stuff it.
Layers and layers. Yes.
Got bulge, right? ऐसे suitcase के ऊपर बैठ के हम बंद करते हैं, right? Childhood में how we would. So it will pop up.
Absolutely.
The slide does that, and then what do I do? All of this is everywhere बिखरा हुआ. But if I just pause and look at it, okay, this is what I felt, and this probably is not the time when I can get that safe space. So pause is going to allow me to put this suitcase full of rumpled mess in one room, shift to the other room and be my boss self, and then come back to this room to clear it. So that's why, guys, we wanted to talk about pauses, is because it's about holding yourself with a lot of kindness. This is what I felt. And instead of trying to sync your identity with it, like, I am a very cool and calm and collected person. How did I have an anger outburst? Or how can I feel so jealous? Or feel so and hurt? But, we are human beings, and every emotion is possible to feel. So allowing yourself to shift and then coming to a safe space. So can you talk a bit more about safe space? I'm not sure if I'm taking us a bit off topic, but I think it's important.
That's very important because pauses are safe spaces, right? And the fact is that a safe space is where everything goes. It's me and me. It's Astha talking to Astha. And if there is this Astha that is just yelling, I want this, I didn't get this, okay, and I was told this, that's not fair, it's not okay, it's not this, and there is this other Astha who's just, generally it's this Astha who's going like, it's okay, calm down, and I'm saying that the safe space is when you're there, when you're right there, and you've just taken a step back, that there is just, I'm listening. You tell me. You tell me what was not fair. You tell me what came up. You tell me what that insecurity was. You tell me how dare that. Yes, let's talk about everybody and everything. How could you do this? How could somebody else say this to you? How could you unravel? Let's talk about everything.
But I managed to save the first half. Hi Smriti, how are you? Hi Anki, thank you for joining us again, guys. Okay, chalo, where were we? I completely lost track.
So did I. I was like totally in the moment. Let's pause and go back to where we were.
Yes, I think we were talking about safe spaces. That's what I remember. Yeah.
Yes. So, should we start?
Yeah.
So we were talking about safe spaces.
Yeah.
And a cool way to put it would be like, a place where you sit and anything goes. Where I can have a conversation with myself and listen to myself without really interfering, without trying to adjust my own narrative to the narrative that should be.
Okay.
I wanted to add this, that we all have this person that we want to be, right? And we always are aspiring to be someone. A safe space is when you just take a pause and just say, hey, where are we? What's up? Let's just reconnect. Let's just take a pause from that ideal personality that we are trying to achieve, and just see where we are. Just acknowledge all the aspects that are alive inside me right now. This safe space is a place where I can talk to myself and I can say whatever I want to myself. My harsh is welcome. My soft is welcome. My disgusting is welcome. My beautiful is welcome. Where everybody is equally welcome. That is my safe space. That is where I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable in my joy, in my pain. It's everybody is allowed here in this space. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes complete sense. And if you want that we correlate it to safe spaces in therapy or counseling, it is also the same.
You are very clearly audible. Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Can people see me now?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
So what I was saying is that Anki says both of us were audible.
Awesome.
Okay. But what happens is I need to hear what she's saying. She needs to hear what I am saying so that we can be on the same page, right?
Yeah,
That's really what is happening. So, okay, thank you so much, everyone. So, even if we talk about safe space in therapy, there also, safe space is usually a very concrete space that I can always go back to.
Right.
Let it be as concrete as a corner, a couch. A particular tree in your garden where you loved playing near which as a child, or
the physicality of it.
So what happens is then you are able to ground yourself in that safe space.
Absolutely.
Because we might be anywhere in the world and we might feel vulnerable. There's no time and space, right? As we discussed, I think in the previous safe section, कि कोई भी चीज हमें ट्रिगर कर सकती है. Let it be someone's body language, let it be a situation. Deshu, why are you saying none of us are audible? Please don't.
He's talking to the people who's commenting, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Not us. Okay, great. So thank you. So basically, that's why we need to have a tangible safe space so that even when we are feeling vulnerable and, we want to shift from these emotional rooms in our mind and our body, our mind and body in sync, and ground ourselves into something safe where we can take that pause, we can stop and just recollect ourselves. Therefore, having a tangible safe space can help you, because you will be able to ground yourself in the safe space in your visualization also, or even in your mind's eye, or whatever you would like to call it.
So even conjuring up a physicality around that safe space makes it more it's easier to achieve then it's easier to just
It's
get
easier to
there in that mind space.
But what happens is, if it is a space, a real space from your life, past or present, it is much better, because what happens is, let's say you have your, favorite corner of your home in your bedroom.
Right.
Okay, and that corner is going to have so many memories, so your senses have that remembrance, that cell memory. You can visualize what it looks like, and what kind of a feeling does it give you. What can you touch? If you were to touch, what would you be able to touch? If you were to smell, what kind of smell would you get? What kind of taste in your mouth would it bring? And so you'll be able to ground yourself in that safe space better, and it will allow the pause to be even more effective. This is what I
Beautiful.
wanted to share.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So yeah, bringing a physical aspect to the pauses, to the safe spaces. So we could actually say that in our minds, that our safe space would be like the central neutral place, if it were an imaginary playground, right? And our safe space would be, and these rooms everywhere, there are these rooms, right? The rooms that we talked about, there is anger, and then the pauses to how to get from that room to that safe space. It's like, okay, let's just imagine we're there, and then we'll take it from there, step by small baby step. So I think that is a very beautiful analogy and visualization we got there.
Yes, because I think when you're talking about where we are, that's why I wanted to at this point, I'm maybe I'm going a bit more into safe space, but क्या होता है वो transition होने पे it's much easier, is what I feel.
Absolutely.
So these lives, they really can throw us off and shut us in one room, right? What do you feel? Because when the previous life dropped, I was like, where was I?
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely happens. And so there is a beautiful pause right just before and just after. Okay, let's if we want to talk about vulnerability and safe spaces, so let's say that I'll bring my vulnerability to this safe space, and for me, right, just before the life and just after the life, or just before any place that I have to show up, I have to put myself out there where there is possibility of criticism outside the safe space of my house. I have this big noise going on. Like there is so much. There is like that excitement that that this is going to be with Suniti. This is going to be like everybody's going to get to see how we talk in real life. The other one is this constant loop, right? You're going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. People are going to make fun of you. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. And it just becomes like this nice noise that I'm singing to, and then there comes a pause like this just before the live. It will go all up, like it's a crescendo, and there's this there's a flat line just before the live, and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what's gonna happen, and I think that is a little bit what vulnerability looks like. When I did this a couple of times before that, I got so stressed and I was so worried about stressing and not stressing that I kind of could not really be in that moment, and that has happened to me so many times that I just said that probably failure is what it looks like, that probably me out there showing up is always going to fail. And then conversations with you brought up vulnerability, and I said, you know what, let's show up, let's be vulnerable. And my pause was that, like between the last life and this life, that was this long pause where I was like, what was that about? What will this one be like? And there are these moments of noise followed by that flat lining, that crescendo. Just before the light, there is a pause that okay, there is a life. It is happening. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So all this noise is, all that questioning, that
Yes.
all that, you can call it self-doubt, you want to call it, the gap between your real and ideal self, whatever analogy you want to use.
Absolutely.
It's basically that, and finding yourself in that space. So, Asta, I think I'm so sorry. We are nearing we are nearing kind of like the end of today's session, because it's
Yes.
going to be 9. So
Yes.
before we take questions from you guys on vulnerability or how we can manage it, or about this negative dialogue or the noise that keeps on going on in our mind or whatever, I also wanted to ask you, like, how can one pause? Like, could you share one way, or like a set dialogue that someone could go to, like a go-to method or something, where they could just pause in that moment, hold themselves with kindness, and then move on to the next? Jo bhi hai.
So yeah, this is what I do. That's an interesting question you have. What I do is that in that moment of noise where I am overwhelmed, I'm surrounded by a lot of self dialogue, a lot of triggers are there. I go back to the first step is the big dramatic breath. There has to be a physicality attached to the first big dramatic breath. And then just holding yourself and going like, hey buddy, what's alive right now? What's alive? And terms and conditions, everything goes. Yell it out, whisper it out, say it out, I don't know, everything goes. So it's just that I just tend to keep a hand on my heart and another on my core. And after the first physicality of the breath, I will actually start talking to myself and be like, okay buddy, what's alive? What's coming up? Sometimes I tend to write these things down. Sometimes I just say them out loud. And there is this feeling of just wanting to be heard. That noise just needs to be heard. So these are the two things that I tell myself. What's alive in you right now? And everything goes.
Okay.
I'll just step back. I'll just listen to everything that you have to tell me. I'll not interfere. This is, go ahead, just start with what you want to say.
Okay, so basically what I'm understanding is to not judge yourself for feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, and asking yourself that, what is it that I'm going through right now? When you say what is alive in you, what is it that is coming up?
Coming
like
up.
We also spoke about, what we spoke about, all these feelings and all these age-old, triggers and hurts and wounds that we have had emotionally or psychologically, and they just flare up. They're like that thusa hua suitcase, okay, with an analogy. And it's all bikra hua, it's everywhere, here and there, and not judging yourself basically for being everywhere emotionally, but rather asking myself what is coming up, and also telling myself that everything goes, that when I have understood this side of mine, I can allow everything to come out. So what I feel is, let's say you are in a situation where you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed. You pause, hold yourself, and ask yourself this question. When you understand that, you can shift from that room to your safe space. You can let yourself know that you are safe, and then move into whichever room is needed for the present moment. And then come back to this room, come back to that anger, come back to that pain, and let everything come out.
Exactly. Like it's a ripple in the pond. You cannot see anything. You have to let it settle. So yes, absolutely. Like, come back to it. Give it grace of being heard. That I'm listening to you, and I'm going to come back to you, and I will listen to you for as long as it takes. The pause is not being impatient. The pause is like, I'm here. Everything goes. What's alive? I'm here.
And when you say that, you put your hand on your heart and on your core, is it also, establishing or, grounding yourself in that mind and body connection? Because, our mind is running around trying to figure out things. Our body is probably,
Absolutely.
running around in its own dhun, with work or whatever.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Exactly what you said. It's just grounding yourself, and it's a way of like just holding yourself, like touch that, hey, I feel you, I see you, I hear you, that kind of a like
Embrace.
Exactly. Embrace your child. Hold yourself. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So thank you so much for this really interesting topic. Yeah. So guys, do you have any questions for Astha or me on this topic or about vulnerability? So also please know that if you don't feel feel like sharing something here, because there are people watching this live or who might see it later, if you would like to message us personally regarding any issue that is making you feel vulnerable and maybe you are not able to find that safe space or that shift, you can message Astha, you can speak to her, you can contact us, you can speak to us also. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes to see if any questions come.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, this is what happens when there is a break in the live. Now, I think a lot of people also the track.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like we also lost track. I'm pretty sure people who are just listening, they're engaged in it, and we kind of lost track. So people who are listening, it's easier to, sometimes pauses can become stops.
So what I was thinking is we have to find a way to make these conversations more tangible. I mean, we have put it up on YouTube, guys. You can view it again. And I think now Instagram is giving us the option of putting it up on IGTV so that you can view it again and then leave your comments. But I think there has to be a more tangible way. So I'm thinking that let's you and I, let's you and I keep a webinar. What do you think about that?
I love that idea. I think this could, I have so much to talk about. Like, I don't even know how time flies, right? When we talk about these things, and especially when you and I talk, I definitely have so much to say. Yes, let's do something very soon.
Yeah.
Ankita.
So Anki, that is the answer to your question. यही चल रहा है कि हम webinar plan कर रहे हैं. Because I think vulnerability is a topic which is very less spoken about. People are very scared of being vulnerable.
Absolutely. And you're right, before we can talk about vulnerability and being vulnerable, we have to talk about the fears that, the shame blanket that is wrapped around vulnerability. That is so, that is like a kavach that we have.
कि हमें vulnerable नहीं feel करना है.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think blaming is also another coverage, if you want to say it that way, that we will always blame, because my parents said कि vulnerable mat bano, so now I can't be this or whatever. See, but there is no point. Yeah, it's easier to blame, but one can't give you what they have themselves not received. If your parents have not receive the permission to be vulnerable themselves and speak out their emotion or understand it, then they can never pass it on to you. And if you have recognized it, change that pattern, for whoever it comes next.
Exactly. I love that you said that. Change that pattern. That give yourself that acknowledgement that what, I am more than this. I am more than the helplessness, or I'm more than the not enough tags. I'm more than just my core beliefs, and that is very scary to tell myself, right? That I am more than my core beliefs. Who am I? How dare I? So that becomes so. It becomes so close to the identity of it all, right? The identity of Astha comes in question. So that becomes a very.
Okay, so Karma Police Wala, I'm not sure the full proper name, but has said just join at the almost the very end. Things really made sense. Thank you so much. And Deshu says, I'm not vulnerable, I'm invincible. Well,
I am loving this. That's awesome.
But But that is actually a fear of also not being vulnerable. Okay, my invincible route. Going the opposite route is also not being in your safe space. Okay, I mean we didn't talk about that, but that's also there.
That's for the webinar, guys.
Yes, that's for the webinar.
You know what? Let's call the.
Yes,
I
now.
loved Teshu's this invincible and vulnerable. That should be our webinar. I'm loving that.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Okay, so again, Karma Police Wala has, I think it's a statement. It's like control versus surrender. I feel जब vulnerability की बात होती है, usually we are comfortable being in control of everything. Yeah. So Asta,
true.
would you like to comment on this, or do you want me to comment?
So true. So I loved the word control because that is one of the biggest fears that is associated with vulnerability. Is that I'm not going to be in control if I'm vulnerable. If I lose my cool, right? That is one of the examples we took. If I lose my cool, right? That's not okay. I have lost my control over my emotions, and that instantly puts me in a very small place of that's not okay. And very correctly, like he said, that very rightly he said that because we are comfortable being in control, and vulnerability is uncertainty. Brené Brown calls it uncertainty, emotional exposure, and risk. So exactly, that is exactly what we cannot control. Nothing about vulnerability is under our control, and that is one word that we love. The fear of losing control is a big one around vulnerability.
Because there are these layers of belief that we have, things must go a particular way, and that teaches us this illusion of control. So I personally, my belief is that even surrendering is an illusion, because being human being only, I think we can never fully surrender. I mean, अगर fully surrender होगा तो सांस भी छोड़ देनी पड़ेगी, और जो potty hole कर रहे हो वो भी छोड़ देनी पड़ेगी. And I know I'm talking about potty, but then like it's a fact, dude. It's a fact. So surrender and control are both illusions, I feel, and finding that balance somewhere, understanding that total complete control or complete surrender is not something that exists, I feel. Even people, I don't know, I might be wrong, if anyone would like to comment on this, but I think there are a lot of people who are preaching letting go and surrendering, and I think they are also trying to control and convert people's mind into that mindset, rather than
what is letting go?
Respecting their own mindset. Sorry.
So I'm just jumping onto that letting go wala part is, you know what, I understand the concept of letting go, and I would want to add to that before I can let go of something, I need to give it an identity.
Yeah.
So like you said, exactly, give it grace by giving it identity, by giving it respect, and that is the balance that you talked about, right? The balance between complete control and complete surrender is the thin line where you walk. That is the vulnerability, where there will be times that you will be absolutely helpless against the tide, and there will be times when you will be in absolute complete control of every single aspect of your environment, and the fact that it's going to be a seesaw between the two. It's a vulnerability seesaw. It's in the middle where the beautiful pathway to vulnerability lies. That accepting that I could go here, I could go there.
Yeah. So I think this is the last thing that we will comment on, guys, because we are running late. So Deshu says you can be invincible in chaos too. Control and vulnerabilities are very different. So yes, control and vulnerability are different concepts. Hence, we talk about it, but doesn't mean they are not associated. Again, see, guys, any kind of a conversation that is happening now, Asta and we are conversing. We have our own, perspectives, and we have our own school of thought, and we are accommodating as many as we can. But everybody will be having a different point of view on this, and even theories. We talk a lot about ye theory, ye bolta hai, wo theory. Again, the theory is created by a human being with a POV, right? And so I personally feel that when you are invincible in chaos, I think chaos is made to sort of face it and become invincible. That's why I think chaos is there, so that you can overcome it. And being invincible in chaos is actually what being invincible is invincible हम काम में कैसे होंगे? एक तो वो मुझे ऐसे लगता है. I don't know. I mean, that's my point of view. I don't
point
know.
of view. Invincible
Yeah,
हम
so
काम
that's
में कैसे होंगे?
कैसे होंगे? And then अगर control and vulnerability मतलब you know, like invincible hona is different from feeling vulnerable. Like there is chaos and I know I need to be invincible in this moment, but doesn't mean that I don't go through a roller coaster of emotions that just shakes me like
Yes.
the bartender shaking the drink and tosses and topples me all over the room of this huge mansion
Yes.
that I have. And
Yes.
you know, I think I need a tequila.
Yes,
That's what I tell
absolutely.
yourself. So, you know, again, coming back to
Absolutely.
the safe space.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, in calm, everyone is invincible. Again, something I don't think I can agree on fully. Even if you are calm, I don't know if you are invincible. They're two different concepts again, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, what
and I think it's also I believe the definition that you remember last time we talked about words having loaded meanings,
yeah,
and what invincibility might be for Deshu might not be for me,
yeah,
might not be the same definition for you, and I think that this thing, right, that this conversation that we're having is about understanding and connecting and trying to understand the language that you speak. So what do you mean by invincibility, Suniti?
Yeah.
What do you mean by invincibility, Deshu? And that is for the webinar. Now, I'm definitely sure that is for the webinar. But I think I love the fact that it's important to have these conversations.
yeah.
Because like you said, they might be different concepts altogether.
Yeah, that's why I gave that huge disclaimer before I commented. Because it's
Right.
true, you know. Okay, so guys, I think we'll wrap up for today, and I
Yes.
hope you guys enjoyed this interesting conversation about vulnerability and pauses with Astha. Thank
I
you
did.
so much for joining. Me too. Thank you so much for joining in. And like we planned suddenly in this live and all में सब cut off हो जाता है. So we'll try to keep a webinar where we can join in and consistently have a session, and you guys can join in even more interactively. So we'll plan something and we'll put it up. If you guys like it, please do join. Okay, and thank you so much, Astha. And I
you.
hope we can have more sessions like this.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Let's do this again.
Yes, all right. Okay, thank
It was
you so much.
fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in. So, Astha, I'll sign off for now. We'll
Yes.
sign off? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Signing out.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed that live. The next live for us is going to be announced shortly. It is going to be with Tanya Ginwala. She is a psychologist, and we are going to be talking about adventure and nature therapy and how that can be used in healing. So please stay tuned. And I hope you're checking out our YouTube channel where all the lives are saved, and we will be coming up with more topics in the future. Please do leave your comments. Thank you so much. Bye. Good night.